Hey, everybody, and Happy New Year. You are listening to the 312 Squadron podcast. My name is Andrew Kouba.
And my name is Nick Sperry.
And welcome to episode 24. We are going to be kicking off 2025 in a really cool way. We're going to be talking a bit about the Conquest Series that 312 is doing in partnership with the XWA. But before we get into that, Nick, how was your New Year?
Oh, it was good. It was a lot, Andrew. You had the pleasure and displeasure of spending New Year's with me last year, and I didn't get sick. It was very
That's
chill.
great. No, I mean, I had a lot
And
of fun with you.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's just unfortunate that I think mixed alcohol over the course of 6 hours, and then when the countdown hit is when my body purged the most. To be graphic with everyone.
It's all good. I mean, you're leaving everything bad, behind in 2023. That's like, you're looking forward to a better 2024.
Hit rock bottom and go up from there. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, 2024. Looking back on 2024, I think it was a good year for 312. I think personally, it was challenging in some ways. I learned a lot about myself, and I challenged myself, and definitely feel like I'm, on the right track of like where I want to be in my life, just to be more existential and broad. So
That's great.
Hopefully 2025 is brings new and exciting things, and on the 312 front it certainly is, and we'll get into that. But yeah, it was good. It was dead though, Andrew. I don't know about you, man, but in the city, like Manny and I went to like Lakeview East and Andersonville. We started in Andersonville and ended in Andersonville at Hopleaf.
Wow.
And like nobody except for at Hopleaf, nobody was really out. The bars were pretty dead. Weekday, middle of the week, I guess it just wasn't like an opportune time for most people to like go out in the city. I was just surprised by that, but it was a chill vibe.
Yeah, that's fair. This felt like a bigger holiday season overall. Like I know just personally for me, I was booked basically from Christmas Eve like through to New Year's. I just did a lot of house parties though for New Year's and for like the holidays and stuff. So I was a lot less going out for me. To be fair, I have been unemployed for a little while too. So the idea of doing a house party is like much more affordable than, going out and spending money on that too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I got literally a thimble sized green tea shot for Manny and I at this bar in Lakeview East, and it was like $20.
Oh my God. Is it like the Jenny's ice cream of
bars? It was a terrible bar too. It was like a Wrigleyville bar in the middle of Lakeview East. It's called a Friar Tuck.
Oh, I know Friar Tucks. I know Friar. I know there.
So
wait, that's really they have that?
Because it was honestly I could spill like it was like 3 drops. Like it was so outrageous, and I typically know what to expect going to a bar like that. I'm like, I'm gonna get charged more than like other places. Like it's fine, but we were both shocked. It wasn't even really like you could, how traditional shot glasses pretty big, right? Like, like healthy size of like alcohol. Not to say that alcohol is ever healthy, but maybe you could probably
like normal
quadruple the amount and it would fill a proper shot glass.
We're talking about the one that's on like Broadway in Wellington, right?
Right by the Marianos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it was really weird.
That's
I was like
wild.
shocked.
I mean, it's been a while since I've been there, but I used to live right by there. And usually they have really affordable like beer prices, bucket prices. Like that's shocking.
Maybe they do. They just know that. Right? No, it was just funny. Maybe they do.
Like
green tea shots are like the college kid shot of choice, and they're just like, let's just charge up the ass for it. Like, why not?
It could just be the New Year's premium too, but yeah, that could be.
Yeah, it could be. But it was honestly the chill vibes. Like you talking about doing house parties, I think that's the way to go. I like going out to put myself out there, like be out, but at the same time, like I wasn't upset with it not being super loud and crowded and disorienting and everything, and
for sure
overboard. I can't be upset about that. It was kind of nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say a couple years ago we ended up going out to like a New Year's buffet deal at like in like a nightclub, and that also turned out to be like not a lot of people there, which was kind of funny. But we had like a dance floor like just to myself and my partner's friends, like the entire time. So yeah, I'm a fan of like those like low key. Yeah, exactly. Like those low key ones.
I got invited to one of those like $50 plus like cover includes drink thing, and I was like,
Yep.
I hear like very bad things about these. I if it's really busy, it just sounds like a nightmare to be stuck
Like I
in one
said,
place.
yeah, I've only done one of those, and it's just been house parties ever since. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all you need to know, right? Yeah,
For sure. But in the world of X-Wing,
yeah,
2024 was a year of a lot of change, though we did find closure towards the end of it. And I think that 2025 is going to bring so much better things for X-Wing moving forward. We've gotten a preview of that in 2024, and it's going to be interesting going to Worlds in a couple months and officially saying goodbye to X-Wing from the AMG era. There's an exciting year ahead planned for a supposedly dead game. And the XWA has been cooking up some stuff, and some of it we're partnering with. We'd love to talk with you here today.
yeah. So that we had that big announcement, that we all kind of like. It was like it's like the when your ex, like when you're still dating, she says like, "Hey, we need to talk." Like you kind of know where it's going, kind of thing. Like I feel like we all kind of could see the writing on the wall, or at least feel some sense of like, I think we're winding down. I think AMG might make an announcement that they're no longer supporting X-wing, and when it finally happened, I was kind of relieved. I
I
know
was
we've
so
talked
relieved.
about this before, but
Yeah.
it was just nice to like finally like you get the closure and like the words in front of you to see it, read it, and like that's from the horse's mouth. Like this is it.
Hmm.
Obviously, I'm not wouldn't be celebrating like the end of official support, but just being
No,
able to not be strung along anymore, it
I mean,
just that felt good.
I
For
mean,
sure.
that's exactly what it is that it's not being strung along, and it's giving the community a chance to take over from there and make the game that they want. That it's something that we would not have been able to do had they kept stringing us along, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even want to imagine what that would feel like.
I mean,
Um,
we know, I think, what that's like, and just talk to your nearest friend who plays Armada, and they'll tell you all about it.
right. Yeah. At least they included Armada in that, but it felt kind of backhanded
Oh,
still. Still it felt a little backhanded, but we don't have
yeah,
to
for
dwell
sure.
on
But
that.
they no, exactly, because we got better things coming up.
Yeah, yeah. So last year we at the beginning of last year we started the team league, the 312 team league, which is like an online series, league style with teams of originally just 3. And
Hmm.
then that was really popular and people had a lot of fun making their own teams. So we did season 2 with 75 people, 5 people on each team, and we had independent players come together and be assembled onto teams randomly, and then you had other people assemble their own teams. Super fun. And I was starting to get a good taste of like online organized X-Wing and like just kind of crafting it and making it my own, but making it an inclusive and fun and yet competitive environment. And um, once the XWA beta points came out, it's like, well, there are no consistent online tournaments anymore. We used to get those. I'll talk a little bit about that in a
Yeah.
bit. But like, I was like, well, let's just do a couple of like, kind of casual online tournaments with these beta points. And we did 2 of them, the Revenge of the Deep Dish and the Blues Brothers Bonanza, which the names are super fun and Chicago-y. And those were really successful. And we had a blast streaming it. And the people who played in it had such a great time. I was like, well, in 2025, it's going to be the biggest year for X-Wing because whereas in COVID, we didn't know what the future of X-Wing was going to be like because of the pandemic. Now we know what the future of like that X-Wing is done from an from an officially supported perspective. And was it really a dire need for us to kind of come together and unify if we want the game to be sustained long term.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, well, let's do a global online circuit that includes people from, there's so many X-Wing players in Poland, there's X-Wing players in New Zealand, there's X-Wing players in Chile, there's X-Wing players in Canada, obviously here in the States,
Yeah.
all across the world. And unfortunately, our events have always just been pretty restrictive to the US. So I was thinking, just like Galaxies with GSP, why don't we start an online circuit, one a month, with
Yeah.
a invitational at the end of the year? And the Conquest series was born, and I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, that's such a cool idea. I mean, one thing that I loved during the good thing that came out of the pandemic era was the global tournaments that were happening. And especially for me going to couple worlds and Adepticons and seeing a lot of my international friends who play X-Wing, that's like one of the only events that I really get to like engage with them and play X-Wing with them that isn't just, talking online or in Discord. So opening like something like this up to the world again after we saw how fun and cool that was in 2020, I think this is such a great idea.
Thank you. Yeah, it's honestly just going historically speaking, what Dion and Gold Squadron did, kind of
Hmm.
heeding the call in 2020 during COVID to kind of unify X-Wing players globally, really prolonged the game's
Big
lifespan. I mean,
time.
we can't say definitively what would have happened if none of those events did happen, but we know that it was really vital and important for getting people interested in staying interested in a game that we physically only ever played really in person, right?
Yeah,
Online play
100%.
was more limited for a lot of people, and now it's like pretty standard. People almost exclusively play both in person format and online because of the accessibility and where TTS has gone.
Yeah.
Um, and so, yeah, this series is really, it's just such a huge opportunity for so many reasons, kind of extending beyond the fact that this is the biggest thing that 312 has ever done. But it's an opportunity to see kind of where we're at. Like, where's the player base at? How are people feeling? Can we get people together and rally them together? That's the goal. And it's going to inform XWA's OP calendar and how we structure events in the future as well. Being able to partner with XWA in this series, that's it's there's a lot of opportunities here and a lot of question marks. Like, turnout so far is already pretty good with our ticket sales. We've only been had tickets available for a day, and the already the interest is pretty good. And so I'm eager to see over the next 3 months before the series officially kicks off after Worlds in April. uh, what can we sell out? I really think we can, and I hope we
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, I mean, can we try to get? We just need to reinvigorate people. In 2025 is the biggest test for sure
Yeah.
for X-wing.
Yeah, I definitely believe that as well. So just to give some information, just like on how this event works, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be curious. What is different this time around, and how does the event work if you want to sign up?
Sure. So I think the easiest comparison to make that I'll be making for this is to Galaxies, because it was like a world type online format that GSP put together. It was widely successful and deservingly so. So I was definitely inspired by the global approach, obviously including different time zones. So your boys are going to be up at 2 a.m., starting streaming at 9:10 p.m., like all these different time zones. It's going to be really interesting for me. And I'm excited,
Yeah,
but also like a little nervous about my sleep schedule. I've done it before when I worked with Dion with Galaxies. I think I could do it again. But um,
uh,
essentially,
it's good
instead
that
of
you
two
have
day
that.
events,
Yeah, I was gonna say it's good you
go
have
ahead.
that practice.
Yeah, just yeah, seriously, it was really enlightening for sure.
Yeah.
So instead of 2 day events, GSP, it was a day of Swiss and then a day of Top Cut.
Hmm.
These are just going to be single day tournaments. I'm a big fan of single day, like store champ style events with like a top two cut,
Hmm.
just because it gives people an opportunity to keep a part of their weekend. Them all
Yeah.
being on Saturdays is going to be nice because even if if you want to play in one of these that's stateside, but you're overseas, you can make it work because you don't have to work the next day.
Right.
You can stay up late on a Saturday night, right?
Yeah, having to stay up till 3 a.m. or start at 3 a.m. both times if you're out of your time zone, that's a big ask
Yeah, yeah,
for sure.
and it gives us all a crash pad for those that are not gonna be in that time zone. Um, the other thing I was waffling on was, depending on the turnout for each of these, conquests, these qualifying events, I was thinking, it's gonna be either a top 4 or top 8 that receive invites for each of these qualifiers to play in the global conquest in December, that, like, championship series to determine who is the top conquestor, the
For
top
sure.
conquistador. And I was
Ooh.
thinking, like, what do we do a Swiss with a top cut, or do we do single elimination? and have all the invite players just play as if they're in a top cut, and that's what we landed on. Was just, and I think that works really well for people's schedules
For
as
sure.
well. Is that you don't have to play in 4 or 5 rounds of Swiss and drop after 2 or 3 rounds. Like you win, you keep going, you lose, you're done, and you can enjoy the rest of your day. And I think
Or
that will
use that time
also
to mope. Yeah.
or you said time to mope yeah, exactly. But I really do like single elimination. Like in the past, like I'm a big baseball guy. The wild card
Mhm.
series used to just be one game. I love
I'm
like everything riding or dying on one game. I know that that can be tough with an
I'm a
X-wing, but
big soccer football guy, so I'm a big fan of the single elimination. Yeah, like that's
yeah.
how the World Cup is to me. That that makes sense.
Yeah. So I'll just go through the schedule super quickly. So April 19th is the debut of the Conquest series. It's going to be the Windy City Conquest to start us off. Of course, Chicago based Central Time. But then every month after that to December, we have a conquest. So in May, we have the Crumpet Conquest, which is London GMT time. We have the Gotham City Conquest back in the States. That's New York City Eastern Time
Very
in
fun
June.
names. Yeah.
Then we have the Pierogi Conquest, which is Warsaw, Poland in July. The date will be determined soon. We just can't really pick a date like 6 months out.
Mhm.
It's well, when we get there in a couple months, we'll announce it. Then we have the Bay Area Conquest. It's going from all the way from Poland. The next month in August, we'll go to Oakland, California, and do a Pacific Coast or a Pacific Time Zone event. And then we're going all the way over to New Zealand in the Middle Earth Conquest in September, the Empanada Conquest in Santiago, Chile, local time zone there in October. We have the Alamo Conquest, which is going to be Texas, Houston. Uh, that is going to be in November. And then lastly, local to Chicago, back to Central Time, the Global Conquest. I know the folks in Europe, they make it not going to be happy about that, but we got to just pick the only time zone that I think really makes sense because we're going back to Central Time.
Yeah.
There's
It
no, it can't really please everyone with that,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
I was going to say no matter where you put it for the finals, it's going to be, it's going to be tricky like that. Though
Yeah.
you can do stuff like midday here wouldn't be so bad for some people that, in Europe.
Yeah, and again, it's being single elimination and almost overwhelmingly likely to be on a Saturday. I think people
Yeah.
can stomach it. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. Once
yeah.
again, yeah, that
So
makes the one day way easier to deal with. Absolutely.
yeah, we'll see. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8 qualifiers, and then the ninth event is the invitational, is the global conquest. So a lot of opportunities for people to play X-wing. And what's great is the folks in Europe have multiple opportunities to play in a time zone that really works a lot better for them, which I'm really excited about.
For sure.
Getting more involved overseas in a virtual manner.
Yeah, absolutely.
The tickets,
Yeah, if
and
you
I say
wanted to
tickets
sign
like,
up.
oh, yeah, you want to sign up. The first 3 tickets are available. So the Windy City in April, that's April 19th, the Crumpet Conquest on May 3rd, and then the Gotham City Conquest on June 21st. Those 3 series as conquests are tickets are available now. And they're going
Yeah.
pretty quickly so far. I'm
All
really
right.
impressed with how the pace of tickets so
Yeah,
far.
I'm gonna try to get this episode edited as quickly as possible and posted so that the links will be here at the bottom. Then you'll still be able to sign up for these events.
Yeah, I mean, and what's nice at being online, we can increase the player limit as
Hmm.
needed. Right now, they're at a cap of 48, which I think is pretty sizable. I
For sure.
personally don't expect us to have more than that, but I would love to be proven wrong there. Be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then the future events will update everyone and make sure it's very easy for people to find out and know when the future events when tickets go on sale. Again, it's just several months in advance that we want to be able to pick a date where I know I'll be here. Sometimes I travel for work
Yep.
and or go home. So when I know that I can actually be here to stream and host the event, and we'll give people ample time to be able to fit it into their schedule, and won't be a last minute thing.
Yeah. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. So
let's
I guess the question too that's also on everybody's mind, if you're signing up, it's cool to play, it's cool to have the clout, but are there also going to be prizes as well?
Yeah, so typically, what we're used to is we pay an entry fee to an event, and we get a participation prize. We get participation prizes. Um, the tickets for these events are $5 each, pretty low relative to maybe what folks are used to paying for either in person or online X-wing tournaments.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and what we're deciding to do is, instead of making it a $20 to $30 entry, we are keeping it very low and raffling off prizes to participants in every single event. There will
Mm,
be a lot of opportunities to win prizes, but not every player is guaranteed to get a prize. And there's a reason for that. A few, actually. One is the manpower. I don't like to say, "Oh, I can't do this." I cannot do that on my own. I cannot send prizes across the world in hundreds of droves. It's just not feasible, and we want to keep the entry fee so low so
yeah.
that people can play, and so that otherwise we wouldn't be able to actually do prizes. If we made it free, we couldn't possibly do it. So with that said, well, then why is there a fee in general? It's online. Why can't it be free? And that's an important question to answer very openly.
Mhm,
This is an opportunity for 312 and the X-Wing Alliance. I'm going to kind of frame this more about XWA.
mhm,
Um, if we want to do the type of competitive and awesome, high quality prize kits from a store level to convention level, like at PAX Unplugged or Las Vegas Open or Adepticon, for example, we need to raise some money. It's as simple as that. So we believe that we can raffle off really awesome prizes to a lot of players in these conquests, while also being able to raise a little bit of money for the XWA to be able to start their OP season off with something. Unfortunately, creating prizes and commissioning artists and maybe creating new dice in the future, it just costs money. So we really want to be able to raise money for XWA in a way that allows people to still win prizes and be able to play for a very cheap entry fee.
yeah, for sure. That's really cool. I didn't know that part. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
nice.
so essentially any operating costs, anything we want to make sure we break even there, that will not be difficult. I'm not worried about that. But then anything else, any proceeds, we don't have to view it as like a donation. It's really just it is in a way a fundraiser for the XWA, and it really really important to me that we seize this opportunity, because you got to strike while the iron is hot, and with
Mhm.
Adepticon being just a couple months out, this is a really important time for us to start a series like this, because 2026 is really going to be the first full year under XWA, and we got to be able to have resources to be to really put our best foot forward.
Yeah, for sure. So, since this is part a fundraising effort for the XWA, I'm guessing that it's going to be XWA rules then that this tournament structure is going to be.
AMG points. Yeah, XWA. Um, XWA points, rules, any components. There's a lot of exciting stuff that's going to be announced pretty soon and teased. Anything new can be played in these events as long as they come out at the right time. Um, so there's, again, going back to that word opportunity, there's so much that we get to do with this series and get to observe, and really we get to this series basically raises the tide for all the content creators, for the organization, for ourselves, of course, to be able to promote ourselves and put ourselves out there and try to keep the game going in
For
a
sure.
really great collaborative community effort.
All right. So, yeah. And then there's going to be a lot of time between now and April. So, it's going to be exciting to see what that's going to look like then by the time the first tournament rolls around.
Yeah. It just really quick. I didn't mention, but it's
Yeah.
important to note we're working on these really awesome acrylic plaques for every conquest winner. So they'll also win a really cool XWA. And when I say XWA, I mean like the artwork from XWA will be on the plaque. A cool like conquest trophy.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
No, that's very fun.
Yeah. I'll be adding that to the doc once I get the mock up done and approved. So keep an eye on the Google Doc. We'll link that in the description as well, where we announce and break down everything about this Conquest series.
Yeah, and then also because there's a series of tournaments too, are you able to sign up for multiple tournaments?
Yeah, absolutely. You can sign up for as many as you want. It doesn't matter what time zone you're in. If you're if you're in the UK and you want to play in the Bay Area Conquest, you absolutely can. Each series does have its own entry, its own ticket fee. So if you want to play in three of them, it's $15. If you want to play in one, it's five. However, just because we love and appreciate our patrons, they get up to three events entry for free. So just any if you're a patron or want to become one, you get some awesome perks for this series, being a Patreon supporter.
Yeah, oh, that is a pretty big perk.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. Well, cool. And then I know some people probably can like look at the fact if they want to, but is there any like sort of like cancellation or if they can't like make a tournament that they registered for something like that, or they accidentally miss they oversleep and you miss it?
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, no one really needs to care or probe. Life happens. They are transferable. They are not refundable. So we can always get you into another event, very easily. But just when it comes to the raw numbers and keeping track of everything, it's going to be a lot easier and cleaner for us if we just kind of you get the ticket and then that ticket is valid for any other ticket if you can't make the series that you got a ticket for. Um, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good to know.
Yeah. Let's see. Is there anything else we have? So a lot of these questions, for you all, how the sausage is made. We're reading from the FAQ. There is an FAQ. I definitely strongly recommend going through on our announcement doc for this series that just
Yeah.
kind of talks about, the what, the why, especially when it comes to pricing. Invites will roll down for people who already have one. um, most of these series or qualifiers will be 4 to 5 rounds of Swiss and no more, and with a cut to top two to determine the champion who wins that trophy. And yeah, we'll be using all the XWA rules, components, all that stuff, structure, like Andrew mentioned earlier.
Yeah. And if anyone had like additional questions, we thought, here would just be a good time to like talk about it and discuss it. Sometimes
Yeah.
helps to yeah,
And we
just
got a Discord channel for the series. Please ask as many questions as you want. You can also email us at 312squadron@gmail.com. If you want to send us an email, you can.
that's awesome. So you're going to be streaming all of these events as well.
Yeah, it's great content like that. There's something about streaming like high level or just like tournament X-wing that gets everybody just amped, and
Yeah.
including myself. And so I will be streaming all of these. I've also already reached out to different content creators and community organizers in these different time zones about partnering with them, including Harry Nick, who's in Australia. He talked about doing some commentary together, talking to the Sith Takers. I'll be on their podcast talking about the series next week. So it's going to be a really good opportunity for not just me and us to be covering this, but for other partnerships and creators to get involved.
No, that's even better. I mean, and also for the rest of 2025, going to that series, like watching the meta unfold in real time, just having like all of the commentary and the viewers for those games, like that's going to be so great for X-wing in general, especially working with partners across the seas too.
Yeah, I mean, and as I put it in the announcement video on YouTube, for some people, they're going to think that they're going to look at Worlds as a door closing, as their journey in X-wing ending, and it doesn't have to be. And I think people seeing that immediately after Depticon, all of these these events with dozens and dozens of players, with dozens and dozens of viewers coming together and still playing X-wing. It's not where the goal is to just not feel like X-wing ever ended, because it's not ending. It's
Yeah.
officially not being supported anymore, and you could never truly replace a public corporate entity supporting a game with this IP. Like, we acknowledge that, but we can certainly make an effort to continue the aspects of this game that people really love the most.
Like I said before, I think there's a lot of other people who think like me that, X-Wing is still fun. You can't take that away. So I'm still going to keep playing as long as it's still fun.
Yeah, and I there's a little bit of tough love, but for people who are sometimes you can, it's an easy when you're looking for an out, or you're done, or you're just ready to move on, which is totally fair. I understand. People will use like Adepticon being the last worlds as an excuse to do so.
For sure.
You don't have to stop playing.
Yeah.
If you're not feeling it anymore, you have an excuse, but I encourage you to, especially those who are skeptical about XWA, to, just give us a shot, put some faith in us. And, there's a lot of people putting in a lot of effort and passion and care and time into this game, and keeping it going. And I think the most respectful thing to do is to, give them a shot, you know,
I will say if you are a Scum or CIS player, X-Wing or XWA is for you. Definitely
especially
come back.
CIS, especially.
Yeah. Well, I'd say both. Definitely come back and give it a shot because the changes they've been made are nice. I am taking Scum to a tournament this weekend that I would have never said that in the AMG past. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of really cool reasons to check out XWA.
Yeah, absolutely. It's exciting and it's intimidating on being on the
Hmm.
inside, just with really the task at hand. But we're ready for it. We've been planning. We've spent had a lot of time to be able to get in a position to be ready. And I really think that the best thing that we can do, just going back to the Conquest series, is to keep playing. So
Hmm.
if you have the opportunity and you're able to spare the $5, of course, we never take anyone's hard earned money for granted, but if you are able to, we definitely encourage you to sign up and play. I think you'll have a blast. And keep looking out for more events from other streamers and content creators, and especially from the X Wing Alliance.
Yeah, for sure. So, is there anything else that you'd like to mention before moving on?
Honestly, just want to echo one more time just how big of a deal this year is going to be for the game of X Wing. Like it's hard to put into the right words. Just the kind of magnitude that it really carries. But this is probably the most important time ever for this game. And
Yeah.
if you really do truly care and love the game, as I believe all, if not most of you overwhelmingly do, we gotta band together. So yeah, I'm excited to try to play my part in helping that happen, and hope to have you guys.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, just for my own, personal experience, like I've been lurking in the XWA Discord and ours as well. I'm very hopeful for the future of X-wing, more so than I was last year at this time. And I've just been really heartened by how easily at our local store we've been able to see people shift into XWA and have fun building lists and working in that. I mean, it was the easiest thing in the world, I think, for our store from just my own personal heuristics. But then seeing people online talk about, like XWA and all of the work that a lot of people I know and my friends are like have put into it, um, you can really tell that the community is putting their passion into this project and putting everything they have on the line to like make this as successful as possible. And it's really cool to see.
Yeah, well said. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, it's not that you know ultimately folks chose to volunteer their time, but it's just volunteer work. You know,
Yeah.
no one's expecting to get paid, but just the amount of effort and attention to detail, it's definitely worth mentioning. That
And
full hearted good intention behind this.
yeah, we have such talented people who like play X-wing and they're using their own personal expertise and like years of spent with this game. Some judges, people who run tournaments, things like that. Getting together with people all over the world to
Yeah,
keep this going is just so freaking cool to
yeah.
see.
Set aside any differences or any little rivalries or anything, just to work together. It's been really cool to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we shifting gears?
We can. So speaking of the online tournament scene, kind of you've been having a lot of practice with that already with the XWA
Yeah.
points because we recently just had the Blues Brothers Bonanza. And while I unfortunately didn't get to play in that, I was paying attention to it pretty closely, and we can talk about how that went, how that experience was uh, running that, and then the tournament itself.
Yeah, yeah. The Blues Brothers Bonanza was on December 14th of 2024. It was so last year. But it also was just not that long ago. It was
No.
what, less than a month ago, 3 weeks ago, which is really wild. That's so much time, all the holidays, all that's passed in between. But it was a free tournament. It was kind of another XWA beta points practice. What's nice for the points team and just for data purposes is to get folks to play with a competitive edge with these beta points to really see, okay, what are people riding or dying on, list wise, what factions when
Yeah.
it's time to try to win an event. And it's been fascinating to see the faction disparities, the archetypes, a lot more variety, which is really exciting.
Yeah, I
And
mean, that's a good sign off the bat, I would say.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And the turnout was great. We had 30 initially signed up. We had probably I had 6 people no show, which is the most I've ever had in my experience being a TO, but we still had 24 game day play. Um and we did 4 rounds of Swiss and a cut to top 2. And
Yeah.
yeah, I was just looking through the list right now on Roll Better. There is a lot. I think every faction is represented.
Yeah, every
I'm
faction's represented, and the top 8 have, almost every faction in them. Shockingly, Rebels is, I think, one of the only factions that are missing.
Yeah,
Republic are the only 2 that are missing, like, in that even in that, like, top 8. There was a lot of scum that showed up to this one.
there was a
Um,
lot of scum.
I
Yeah.
I wonder there's not a ton, but I was wondering if lowering like Fen Rao to 5 points had anything to do with that. But I'm not really even seeing too many Fen Rao lists. There's been a lot of scum without it. So I
Yeah.
think that is kind of an interesting thing to see too. I mean, the top 4 scum list was just Cath Scarlet and 7 mining guild ties. Which wow, that's a high variance list if you can get it, but when it works, oh my gosh, it works.
Yes, shout out to Tony. He had initially put in like a list with like 7 Rogue Squadron, or the Rogue Starfighters rather,
Yeah,
uh, and then switched it to 7 Mining Guilds and Cath, and that was we had that on stream. Definitely recommend if you look up the Blues Brothers Bonanza or just go to our channel.
it's a
Can you
fun
imagine
game.
googling that? You will find that game. It
Yeah,
was very entertaining. He did really well. He went 3-1. And just the fact that you could bring a list like that, honestly, even in 2.0, I don't think you could ever run an 8 ship list with a fire spray in it, but here we are. Like, this was a thing you could do.
yeah,
That's a lot of bodies to go through, a lot of high agility. And yeah, but he didn't win the whole thing. He did very well, but he didn't win the whole thing.
yeah. I just that was like the wackiest list that stood out to me.
Oh, for sure.
Uh, yeah,
Definitely.
and having it
Yeah.
do so well is kind of cool just to see in this wild west that we have going on with the XWA Paints points right now.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
yeah,
You
we
go
can
ahead.
just talk about that final game, that list that cut to
Yeah.
top 2, where we have Resistance versus Separatist.
Yeah, that was a 1 point game. But at the end, it was so close, and there was like a couple of shots that could have gone CIS's way to win, but Andrew Oler, aka Andros, really good buddy of mine, one of the sweetest guys, and he's really good at X-wing. Been playing it for a long time. Andrew, have you ever played that? You did that Heratani list with Garvin,
Yep.
Kyle. Like, he created that list. He is the guy that like made that list a thing.
That's
In
awesome.
the
One
OG.
of my
Yeah.
favorite lists. Yeah,
Yeah.
at the end of
Yeah.
2.0.
Favorite to play, not against. It's not very
Right.
fun to play against, but
Oh, how
very
many
good.
times when I first started playing that, I'm sure he must have had the same experience when you do the trick for the first time of passing evades to people, and your opponent goes, "Oh,"
Yeah. Oh,
you're like,
no.
yeah, right.
Yeah,
That
it's so good.
chef's kiss
Yeah,
there.
so
Yeah,
he brought a 4 ship list with 2 resistance bombers. Those bombers didn't have any bombs. Instead, they had like a combination of veteran turret gunner. Yeah, one of them had like Page Tycho, and they both had Perceptive co-pilot. So
yeah.
um it was a 4 ship list. You have those 2 bombers, Finch and Cat to be specific. And then you had a logistics division pilot, I1 generic, uh what is the it's the resistance transport. with
Yeah.
R3 Astromech, M9G8, Novice Tech, and Ion Cannon at 4 points,
I
and
haven't
then
seen the couch since
yeah,
late in
I know it's the
2.0. Yeah.
couch, it's the couch, and then you had Poe Dameron, the Commander Poe, the 5 point version of Poe and XWA beta points with R4 Astromech, Predator, and Heroic. So the trick essentially is these bombers have, the 3 dice primary and they have a rotatable turret that they can double tap with.
Hmm.
And M9G8, you double lock with R3, both transports, and every time they shoot 4 times, if they're double tapping, they get to reroll an attack die, and they have 2 focus tokens.
Yeah. That's yeah, just that poor man's double mod.
Yeah, and
And also
so
just so much health to chew through.
hmm 3 shields and 9 hull. So
Just
you
beefy.
got 12 hit points on both of them for a pretty
Yeah.
cheap price, 6 and 5 respectively. But what Page Tycho lets you do on Finch is after you shoot with your primary, you can rotate your arc. So if somebody like arc dodges
Nasty.
you, you could be like, great, I'll just rotate my arc and get a
Yep.
double modded shot into whoever else I want to shoot at now
Yeah,
with
essentially
perfect
turning
information.
a four ship list into a pseudo sick 5 or 6 ship list. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's just
Cool.
really good. Really, really good. Pattern analyzer on Finch. You can just park there and double focus, with pattern analyzer. And yeah, just really a really cool list. Something I expect to get maybe a soft nerf,
Yeah.
especially because logistics division pilot is kind of randomly able to do way too much in this list. Like the R3 M9G8 efficiency plus an ion cannon plus coordinating ability and jamming. It's just a lot for four
Oh, for
points.
sure. Even just adding a 3 dice gun to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
But honestly just really a breath of fresh air to see two bombers, not just one, two, play all the way to the top of this event. And to see Sam, our 312 crew teammate, he's been playing this list as well and having a blast. I played against it and barely won, but it was kind of a weird game dice wise. So I got lucky there, but it
That
was really
happens.
nasty. It
Yeah.
does happen. Yeah.
Yeah. Potential's there.
Do you want to talk about the CIS list?
Yeah, with the JP Gonzalez. So we
Yeah.
do know that there was it's bombardment 2 bombardment drones with proximity mines, the Geonosian prototype with energy shell charges, Kraken, uh, repulsor lift stabilizers, and then there's another Geonosian prototype, but with energy shell charges and synced laser cannons instead, with repulsor lift stabilizers. General Grievous making a comeback. He kind of went away for a little bit, but good to see General Grievous again with impervium plating and Solus One. And then Cad Bane with proton cannons, contraband cybernetics, Xandu blood, and the DRK probe droids. And that one, yeah, in the rogue class starfighter.
Yeah, this list can do so. Kraken and the DRK1 probe droids are the two like X factors that make this list unfairly efficient. You also got the prox mine carriers that you got to be
Yeah,
careful with because they can launch them out the front with the bombardment drones. But to come into an engagement with a calculate and a target lock and multiple locks, because the HMPs get to basically reroll per friendly lock, so they get to like share locks. It is a lot of cheap efficiency, really dangerous guns.
yeah.
One of the highlights of that game was in the end game, Poe was on like I don't know, 1 or 2 hull, and and Andros like destroyed a ship to like take the lead, and Cad Bane was like didn't have a shot, but he used his ability to like barrel roll into range 1 of Poe
Oh my
to
gosh.
get like a kill shot.
Yeah.
And it was incredible. It was like such I strongly recommend you guys watch that game because it was awesome. Um and unfortunately, like he biffed the shot. Like he had 3 shots in a bow and he couldn't finish him off, and that was why he lost. But it was a really, spoiler alert, but you'll forget this by
But
the time you watch the game. It was an
yeah,
epic game.
yeah. I mean, I was gonna say like that. I mean, a good final game where both players are playing at the top of their ability. Sometimes it does come down to dice. Like that is just the nature of that RNG.
Yeah,
but
it was one of
cool
those
moves
things you everybody's like on the edge of their seat, you know.
for sure.
Yeah.
And then sometimes Poe has plot armor.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's Commander Poe after all.
that's right.
Exactly. Yeah, it's so
Yeah,
good. But yeah, though this event, like honestly, it was a really good practice to put on. It's not my first online event, but you know,
yeah,
I've been wearing the TO hat for a long time for in person X Wing, and just getting to know roll better, and offering people opportunities to play what just feels like a little bit more meaningful X Wing than the casual pickup game. It was really fun, and it
yeah,
was
for sure.
very successful.
Yeah, it's always good. Like, I think it's just going to be good training for a lot of people too. If you want to get into larger tournaments, like if you want to go to LVOs or Adepticon, like things like that, playing in these online tournaments is a great way to get your foot in the door. If you're like ever like nervous about going to like a tournament that has like this level of players and like this level of competition as well. So that's like another important aspect for these online tournaments. And I highly suggest that people, sign up for them. Plus, it's
Yeah.
nice to get familiar with Tabletop Simulator if you want to play with people outside of like a local game store.
Yeah, and try maybe lists or ships that you don't have the means to play, whether it's like you just don't have the ships or
Yes.
it's not a faction you usually play or
Or if,
whatever it is. Like
or if you're thinking of
it's
buying
a safe
stuff,
space. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
yeah,
you can try before you buy here in an actual, competitive environment. And you don't have
exactly.
to worry about forgetting your range ruler in the hotel room or your cards at home.
That's true. Yeah, you can just respawn. It's like, can you imagine being able to do stuff like that? You'd be a magician. People would look at you funny if you could do that in person.
That's
But
right.
yeah, it's being able
Uh,
to do that is huge.
and if you have a very rough game and your opponent's cool with it, you can flip the table, which is always fun.
Exactly. Yeah, actually I had to play Andros for Nickel City X-Wing semifinals playoffs, and he steamrolled me in many ways, and like jokingly, like it was on my stream too. I streamed in my own game,
Hmm.
and I just flipped the table at the end. It was really funny.
I understand that wholeheartedly.
Yeah. We had a good laugh. It was a good time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so lots of just lots of things to look forward to. I like to keep myself busy, and boy, am I going to be doing that. You know, monthly tournaments is definitely the thing that people have talked about doing and us doing, and finally doing that on a global scale is going to be it's going to be pretty epic. You know, I might be tired sometimes, but it'll be worth it.
No, absolutely. Well, that's
Was
great.
there anything else, Andrew, before we wrap up this special episode 24?
No, that is it for me.
All right, everyone. So make sure you guys continue to show your support for the game we love, Star Wars X-Wing, by showing up to play, continuing to play, fill out those feedback forms for the XWA beta points. And we hope to have you in the 312 Conquest series. Again, all the pertinent links will be in the description so you guys can get on the virtual board and playing with us starting in April. We'd love to have you. Also, we wouldn't be able to do things like this if it wasn't for the amazing and generous support of our patrons. You get some awesome benefits like cool swag in the mail every few months, like commission cards and tokens and dial covers and all that jazz, as well as up to 3 free entries in this 312 Conquest series. So, if you want to support us and go the extra mile, we'd love to have you and really do appreciate you. You can sign up, link in the description. Check out our YouTube channel. Make sure you guys watch our replays there. You can catch up on things in our Discord if you join our Discord and be a part of the conversation. And you can like our Facebook page if you want more updates on what we're up to. Thank you all so much for all the support you have given us since 2019, end of 2019, when we first started streaming games without a name, to now and heading into 2025. We hope you have had a good 2024, and we look forward to sharing awesome moments with you all in 2025 and beyond. My name is Nick Sperry.
I'm Andrew Kouba.
And we'll catch you soon.
Yeah, and have a happy rest of your year.